For generations, men were guided by a clear, unspoken contract when entering relationships and marriage. This agreement was built on a foundation of mutual sacrifice and reward. A man understood that his dedication, the long hours spent providing, the physical and emotional energy invested in protecting, and the personal ambition set aside for the family's stability would be met with unwavering loyalty, deep respect, and a shared responsibility for building a life together. This balance was not a one-sided burden, it was a fair exchange. In return for his sacrifices, he was offered something profoundly meaningful: the certainty of a stable home, the pride of building a family legacy, and the profound comfort of a partnership with a woman who saw his struggles and stood firmly beside him through every challenge. This contract provided a clear roadmap to a respected and fulfilling life. Today, men are quietly withdrawing because they have witnessed this fundamental contract being unilaterally torn up and rewritten without their consent. The paradigm has shifted drastically. The sacrifices that were once the bedrock of a respected partnership are now frequently taken for granted, viewed not as valued contributions, but as baseline expectations. Worse, men now operate with the chilling awareness that their dedication, built meticulously over years or even decades, can be completely erased overnight. This erasure doesn't come from a mutual breakdown, but often from a single court order or a sudden change in their partner's feelings. This reality forces a sobering and fundamental question: what am I doing all this for? When the answer points to a system where he bears the overwhelming brunt of the consequences while his partner holds the freedom to walk away at will, the incentive to participate vanishes. He is not choosing against love or connection. He is making a rational choice against a deal that has become profoundly unbalanced and unfairly risky. The legal and financial disincentives are only one part of the story. A profound cultural shift has created an environment where the very idea of traditional masculinity is often met with hostility or ridicule. Society once celebrated the union of man and woman as a sacred cornerstone of civilization, but now it frequently trivializes it, framing male desires for loyalty and exclusivity as archaic or rooted in insecurity. A man who asserts his standards, or establishes boundaries to protect the relationship's integrity, is quickly labeled as controlling or possessive. In a stark double standard, behavior that actively undermines commitment, such as a woman exercising hypergamy, the instinct to trade up for a better option, is often celebrated under the banner of empowerment and self-discovery. This cultural narrative doesn't just exist in the abstract. It plays out in daily life, leaving men feeling demonized for wanting the very things that form the foundation of a secure partnership. For a man, respect is not a luxury. It is the essential oxygen that allows a relationship to breathe and thrive. Without it, nothing else truly matters. Yet the modern dynamic often suffocates men with a constant, low-grade hum of disrespect. This manifests not always in loud arguments, but in subtle, corrosive ways. The belittling joke made in front of friends, the eye roll at his opinion, the constant second-guessing of his decisions, or the refusal to acknowledge his role as a leader and protector. The goalposts for male contribution have also moved dramatically. Where once providing stability and steadfast loyalty was enough to earn respect, it is now seen as the bare minimum, an insufficient offering. He is now also expected to be a flawless source of emotional comfort, relentless sexual excitement, and unwavering entertainment, all while never showing a moment of vulnerability or doubt. This impossible standard exists alongside a diminished sense of accountability for women, who are culturally encouraged to prioritize their fleeting happiness above all else. Faced with this landscape of moving targets and conditional respect, walking away becomes the only dignified act of self-preservation left. The core of the modern male retreat lies in a painful awakening. Romantic love has devolved into a transactional arrangement. Many men arrive at the stark realization that they are not cherished for who they are at their core, their character, their integrity, their humor, but rather for what they can provide. Their affection, attention, and resources are treated as a currency to be spent on a partner's happiness. And the moment their utility wanes, if they stop producing, if they can no longer finance a certain lifestyle, or if they fail to maintain a constant state of entertaining novelty, that affection evaporates. This conditional form of love feels profoundly hollow. It lacks the depth of true intimacy and instead mirrors a cold business transaction, or worse, a form of emotional and financial extraction where he is the resource being mined. This dynamic creates an exhausting and ultimately futile treadmill. Men pour their energy, ambition, and souls into a void that can never be filled, especially when that void is perpetually being reshaped by external forces. The partner's expectations are often curated not by the reality of the relationship, but by the endless stream of validation available on social media and the illusion of limitless options presented by dating apps. He is expected to be a walking contradiction, both a stable, predictable rock and a thrilling, dangerous adventure. He must provide financial security while simultaneously fostering constant emotional intensity. When a man realizes his deep devotion is considered disposable and is being constantly measured against a digital sea of suitors and idealized fantasies, a profound shift occurs. He begins to consciously withhold the very thing he once gave freely, his commitment. The risk-reward analysis fails. Instead, he chooses to redirect that energy inward, investing in his own skills, business, health, and purpose. Here the returns are guaranteed. His value is not negotiable, and his growth cannot be taken away by the shifting emotions of another person.